I know. Usually I start these things.
No, you like this, but there's times when it's focused, you I'll jump in, but I'm trying to do like a weirdest way of doing it. Like I said, just hello, ladies and gentlemen. But like that's what you usually do. I'm usually like, okay, like I'm usually, you know what I mean?
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah.
What's cracking, good folks? It is the real Dwayne Allen along with Brian H. Waters. And today we have a very, very special episode of the Wrestling Realm that we've done previously before. But this time it's going to be slightly different. Today on this episode, on this show, we are going to talk about Brian H. Waters' top 5 championship belts.
Yeah, man. You know, I've been blessed to be able to become a belt collector. Something I've always wanted to do when I was younger. I've always had a love for championship belts, and my godbrother said to me about last year around this time, he said, "I know that 13-year-old you will be happy right now."
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So at the time of this recording, because WWE keeps putting on sales, you got different belt makers. Shout out to them. Shout out to our big brother of the Wrestling Realm, Brandon Guy, who, you know, one point had like a small collection and they grew. But before I had my own, he was somebody who like always let me, you know, check his belts out, you know, and obviously, you know, homage to Dr. D, Corey, Glenn, you know. But, you know, today is about me.
Absolutely. Now, if you saw my video, I did a top 5 of my favorite world championships of all time. So this episode, like I said, trust me, I didn't lie to you. It's going to be a little bit more special because we have a little bit of a special treat because Brian H. is a belt collector. So maybe, just maybe, you guys will get to see, as well as hear, about some of his favorite belts. Now, before we get started, real quick, explain to the people, what is it about wrestling belts or wrestling belt replicas to a wrestling fan?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just like, if you're a collector, right, and you like things that you see on TV, you know, I don't collect too many things, just wrestling belts and Funko Pops. So what I can say for me, it puts me in the moment of being a fan and emulating what I see on TV.
Absolutely.
You know, when I was, you know, when you're younger, you wrestling with your friends, your buddies, and if you were allowed to, you bought a championship belt from the store. So what did you do? You walked around with it. You had it on your shoulder. So when you go to your wrestling shows, you know, you do the same thing. You take your belts, you know, and then, you know, sometimes you get them signed. Some people don't like their sign. I want the person who held it to sign it. But, you know, I like having a championship belt because to me, it's just a display of my fandom. And at any given time, you know, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm in the basement, you know, where my work, it's my work backdrop. And sometimes I just pick up the belt, you know, watching the show and I'm just putting it on my shoulder, you know, and it really like, it's just like an exclamation mark to my wrestling fandom.
Even as a kid, even into adulthood, man. Something about having that championship belt replica that makes you feel like a champion.
Exactly.
But with that being said, let's jump right into it because I'm excited because Brian H. has a lot of cool things we can get into and take it away.
All right, so
top 5 favorite championships.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Is he will hand over the title. It's really cool because I'm being presented with the championship belt.
This is what I get to do. I get to play with all Brian H.'s stuff in his house. Look at that.
It is the spinner. Now, let me tell y'all about this. Now, shout out to Wrestling Superstore. I'll give him a free shout out because I was able to get.
So you got a whole thing of that.
Yeah, see,
damn,
you
look
know,
at that. That's the beauty.
These
That
cameras.
thing is icy.
But I was able to get my name plate right there. You might be able to see it. And since he always called me Brian H., I figured I'd get that on this one. But the thing about this one right here, it was something during this time I didn't appreciate.
Yeah, we probably could all say that.
It was cool for Cena.
Yep.
But when other people had him, like, man,
Why don't they change the title?
why did they do that? The most sacred championship belt. Here's something I never noticed, and belt makers and fans may get on me about this. I never noticed that was an eagle right there.
Are you serious? Oh,
I didn't pay much attention.
Are you kidding me?
I knew you was going to, I told
Are
you.
you kidding me?
I didn't.
It's been there for like 15 years.
Obviously,
How did you not know?
Because I didn't. Because I never like did one of these.
What are you saying?
Because when it was in the store, you know, when they had the toys, I just see it, do that, and walk on. Right.
This title has been on television as much as we saw John Cena, and as much as you just said they didn't change the belt. How did you not see the eagle at the top?
Because I just thought it was just a.
So what do you think it was?
I never gave it a thought.
You gotta start paying attention to the details and look at it now. This is one of your favorite world championship titles.
As a collector, might I add. Now I do.
Oh, yeah,
I pay attention to every single detail. Now this one, I was talking to Brandon about this.
Sure.
This one just says WWE champion on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been cool to find one that had either SmackDown or Monday Night Raw.
The first version that they used to sell as far as replicas. Yep.
But this is the one. Excuse me.
I prefer this one better, by the way.
You do?
Yeah, I did. I never liked it with the Raw and the Raw and SmackDown title.
Okay.
To me, it just had them. When I didn't originally like this title, but I warmed up to it as I usually do, and it was this version of it that I began to gravitate towards. So,
and like I said, I didn't appreciate this until I said this right here. I really didn't appreciate it honestly, didn't appreciate it until really the past year. When I saw, it's one of those things. Once it's gone, it's like, oh man, it was a cool belt. So right sale, it was time. I was like, oh man, now I appreciate it more. It's top 5.
I think it represents an era.
That's what it is.
An era that we didn't really appreciate. And it actually wasn't as bad as we wanted it, but it's just that.
And that's the reason why I got the black one instead of the Cena commemorative edition. Orange is my favorite color. Those who don't know, but I wanted the black one because it represented the era. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm going to get a signature series title, it's got to be from Bret Hart, maybe Hogan. I do want that NWO.
Sure.
But those, it's got to be like from my top guys. No disrespect to Cena or Eddie Guerrero's. Those titles look nice, but if I'm gonna get a signature series, it's got to be from my top guys. The Razor Ramon dude, Razor Ramon might, because Razor's up there for mid-carders for me. So yeah, but I'm moving on to number 4.
Okay, number 4. This is his number 4 favorite championship title on this list. Let's see what you got.
So this is a brand new one. Just added this to the collection as of this taping 2 days ago. So I'm very excited about this. When this debuted on television, boy, oh boy, I thought it was one of the most gorgeous things in recent memory, and that is the WWE United States Championship. Now, this one and my UK title are the only 2 active titles. But this one wasn't even out a year, and it was on sale, and I just when MVP first showed this, I was like, wow, that is amazing. First man to hold this was a black man.
That's if there's a reason to get it now. now I was not paying that title as any mind before. I don't mean to cut you off. This is your show.
No, you good.
I think I have to get it now.
See, I want you to hold it because we've debated on this one, folks. He's like the new Intercontinental title more, and I said I like this one more. I do like the new Intercontinental title, but this right here, see. Oh, almost.
My bad.
But shout out to our big bro Carlos Avent. He was talking
Event.
Avent.
It's event.
He told me it was Avent.
It's event.
He told me it was Avent.
I don't know.
That was funny because he's gonna be in the comment section. But we was talking about championship belts, and then we was talking about the titles that was held by black superstars, the IC title, the big gold, the scratch logo, the network logo, and I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Apollo Crews had this one, and then Lashley had it. So that right there, and like I said, I just like the design of it. If there's a reason for me to celebrate the 4th of July, it's this strap right here.
Now, do you wear this when you cooking out? I know you're a grill master.
No, I'm not wearing the belts because I don't want the smoke from the grill and all that.
Okay, that's fair.
But I will say it was one thing that I've seen a lot of good belt makers do, and a lot of people, they've been coloring this part blue.
I think there's going to be a
it
run
makes
change.
more sense because when you look at the U.S. flag, that's blue. So I don't know what they was thinking. Maybe they didn't want to have too much color on it, but I would like to see them do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that with mine.
They
but
did a similar thing with the United States Championship when it first came out, and they were selling replicas as well. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to that degree.
Okay.
But like I said, I will say this about this, and like I said, I don't mean to take over. This is Brian H's favorite championship show or whatever. But this is a title that originally I wasn't a big fan of how thick the plates are. These are these six
I think
inches?
so. I think they're 6 millimeters.
6 millimeters?
6 inches.
I'm tripping. 6 millimeters. But this is actually in person. This is actually grown on me. Like I said, I was a fan of. I became a fan of the previous United States Championship. It grew on me as belt kind of got bigger. But this is I think I changed my mind. This is one I'm okay with.
So you can tell it's fresh because I haven't even put no new side plates.
So this does come with side plates. Yep,
yeah,
I just noticed that.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty much all of them are now. The next ones I do have the the NWO and the WrestleMania 36 side plates. So the next ones I'm looking to get will be probably the D-Generation X ones.
See how he just slams? It's just,
No, it's just let's move on to number 3 because number 3 is special. It's something I grew up on. It's something iconic. It's the first belt where I could personalize, and that is the Holy Grail for most people. It's a fan dues special because there's some WWE has their versions, but this right here, the big goal. I mean, it's only one.
Beauty.
I mean, so many great people have held this, but did anybody hold it better than Ric Flair?
No.
When
When you see this title, that's just what it represents. You can't help but think Ric Flair.
right, and it looked good on Sting. He's probably for me.
Oh yeah, sure.
Number 2, only because I'm always still going to associate Hogan with the Winged Eagle, but
probably.
Flair and then Sting, and then I'll even give a special shout out Booker T because he was the first black person with this, and then and The Rock obviously was the last black person. No, Mark Henry's the last black person with it. But right here, and like I said, shout out to Fandu. I will say this: if you're considering getting the big gold, go to Fandu.
Oh, free plug. What's
Yeah,
that?
a free plug. Go to them. It's just the way it hangs, the leather. You can get customize. You can get the back customized. You can get the jewels. They send you extra ones too. They send you extra screws. But I would definitely recommend going through them because, and then just the thickness of the plates, and it has a nice curve. I wore this on my birthday last year, and my dad was like, "Boy, that thing look heavy."
Yeah, it definitely is heavy. So let me ask you this. Oh wow, this is heavy. So let me ask you this. We've watched this belt kind of evolve over time, right? We saw it originally in late NWA and what iconically known in WCW, but we would see a revival of this particular title in the WWE. Like you said, with guys Triple H being the first World Heavyweight Champion awarded to by Eric Bischoff, and then we watch it kind of have its run. With iconic names like Batista and Booker T, and
you had to say Batista.
Well, because in all fairness, he was one of the guys of that era. Edge, of course, The Undertaker, of course. How did you feel when this belt came back? Because it didn't look this way originally. Like it came this way. This is really heavy, by the way. It had a serious look to it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And then they kind of brought it back with a curve to it. Does it matter the difference in this particular replica that you have in the NWA WCW version, which it seemed like it had a wider and bigger face with less of a curve, versus the WWE version that kind of returned with a slight curve and a different look, but pretty much the same iconic title. Did it bother you?
No, it didn't bother me. I like the all gold one. The dual plated one was okay. And even the white gold. The white gold like for me it just represents that time. Right. But I like that version, and that's the reason why I got that one.
Now, this is the beauty. Like I said, of course, it's, the red strap kind of commemorates that time of year. I remember when Christian...
That's the first person I always think about when I think about the red strap, too.
Christian was one of those guys that, had that red snakeskin leather back, though. Yeah. But this is the beauty, though. This This is what I do. He buys all this stuff, and I get to come and look at it and hold it and take pictures with it. So, iconic moment. This is fun. So yours is better than mine already because you actually have these titles here.
The 2 different shows, man. 2 different shows.
So you can call it what you want, but those are 3 different belts. So this is the beauty. But moving on. Here we go.
So this one coming up is something that I knew nothing about, to be honest with you. As a child, I learned about it later as an adult. Because this one never was worn on TV. It made its debut. Shout out to our good friend Derek Lewis. You know, we've talked about this on one of the groups about how this belt was presented for a when this happened that never happened in WrestleMania 3, and that is the Andre 87. This is the belt, the biggest belt I have.
Is it?
Slightly bigger than the Undisputed. Just slightly. But this right here, man,
That's
think...
massive.
I think this
Man, that's
one...
a beauty. Goodness gracious.
Look
at that thing.
And I hope the video does this justice. But
Yeah,
I don't think it will. You know, and I'm just trying to show off the flags, too. But then you also just see... Now, this is a big guy right here.
I am big.
You know, you see right there. But it's just... It's not so heavy either. It's like the right amount of heaviness. But it's definitely one of it had to make the list. Shout out to my son for taking Christmas photos. Me and my Christmas photos with it. You know, but it's definitely something that'll probably be the one belt that will never be signed for obvious reasons. But it would have been nice to see that. I like it better than the Hogan 86. The Hogan 86 was cool. But when I looked at that, I'm like, man, that just looks better. And, you know, you can get this one in white. That's another FanDuel special.
Yeah, now, the thing, I remember this replica title when they first released it years ago. It was a dual-plated title.
Okay. So you've been following, to be honest with you, you've been following the belt collections longer than me.
Yeah.
So you always have, like, those stories.
And I have an iconic story that I go into every single time. And I got a feeling it's going to come up again. I'm going to wait for the specific reason why. But let me get back to this because we got to move on. This title right here was when it first was released, it was dual play. It was I don't know if it was silver and in gold. And I wasn't a huge fan of it because I'm not a fan of the dual plated titles.
Right.
It's either silver or it's gold. But when you got this one and just the sheer size of it, I said, "Oh, this is a beauty. This feels like a world title. Like if I was an independent promotion, I wouldn't mind this being my world championship." Not a whole lot of WWE branding or WWF branding on this.
Yeah. Well, see, if you get independent belt maker, they'll put it right there, and I think right here. But yeah, Corey was actually telling me when I told him, I said, "Yo, I'm thinking about getting that one." He said, "Yo, that belt is huge." I said, "For real?" He said, "Yeah."
This is massive. Like this is as big as I am. This is the massive, but this is the beauty. This is one that I think I slept on, and this is one I didn't really pay much mind until I saw it in person. So you have good taste in belts, especially being a belt guy.
It would be definitely something that you know. So one of my things is like when I go back to shows. So which one do I take? You know, I'm thinking about this might be the first one, just because you don't see it too often.
Right.
So, you know, it's definitely one. But now it's time for the number one belt in my collection.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. I've been facilitating this the entire show, so let me give you a quick breakdown.
Yep.
This is different. This is not just your normal number one. Now, we have situations and exceptions where more than one belt can share their top spot because as wrestling fans, we kind of make our own rules and define these.
We told y'all we was going to do that 10 years ago.
Pretty much, and we're still doing it. Yep. So at least you know we're not lying to you. With your number one title, you have chosen 2 belts to represent that top spot.
Yep.
Explain to us why exactly these particular titles fall at number one in this particular category.
Iconic memories of my childhood. These was the belts
you can't say any better than that.
Made me want belts. The belts that I saw in video games. The belts that, you know, my favorite wrestlers wore. When I saw either Bret Hart or The Rock walk out with them on television, it made
you already walk out on the camera.
Look, I ain't that tall, so I know where I can go. You know, as I look at the screen to make sure. But these belts are something that I always cherish, and I always say, one day it's this one, one day it's that one.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, if you're not paying attention, but I think you should, and I think you already know. which belts that the real Dwayne Allen is about to hand over. And that is two things. I'm not a Bird fan, and I'm certainly not an Eagles fan. But when it comes to these, it's the Winged Eagle and the Big Eagle. Right here, just...
Beauties. Absolute beauties. Brings a smile on my face. Look at that.
I wouldn't get too many duplicates.
Okay.
I'm good with one, but if I had an opportunity, I probably would get maybe, let's say maybe the white one, the Ultimate Warrior one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even with this one, maybe they got different plates.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this one, so sometimes you'll see they'll have the March or whatever, March 9th, 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, I've seen
so
those.
maybe
Yeah,
that,
different
maybe
commercials,
thicker plates. But this was the first replica belt I had. Not the first belt. The first belt is the commemorative edition ECW. This is the first
Yeah,
replica
because he
belt.
doesn't get. I make sure. I go out of my way to make sure he gives credit to that title. That thing was.
So a funny story. This might not have been a great decision, but it was for me. It's iconic.
Okay, sure.
I was working at Best Buy at the time.
Another Best Buy story.
Yeah, I thought the company was about to go down.
Uh-huh.
I had, was getting stock, and I said, "Well, shoot."
Do you still have stock from Best Buy?
Mm-mm.
Okay, sold it. Oh, excuse me.
I ain't had that much, but I sold it so I could buy this.
It was enough.
Because I thought that it was going plummet. Now, one of the things that we learned, they always find a way to bounce back. Whatever.
But Amazon was coming in hot.
Exactly.
Big time.
And at the time, it was still it wasn't what it would become.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I bought this, and that one I got at WrestleMania 28. And this is the one I walked across the stage with, and it was time. It was like this to the fans out there, and it was so. Shout out to the lady who took that picture of me and the real Dwayne Allen with championship belts. So these are my top 5 in my collection. And I'm interested. What are the top 5 in your collection? Shout out to all the belt collectors. Shout out to the belt crew. If I started naming names, I would miss some, so I'm not going to do that. But y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But I'm interested to know the top 5 in your collection. What is some on your wish list? I can tell you now. Tag team titles. Mm-hmm. That's on my wish list.
What era? You got to be specific.
Oh, yeah. To me, the only ones that really matter, and that is the classic tag titles, whether we're talking the Attitude Era, the one that says World with the blue. The one that if you had this and the classic IC title, the other third one, the Triple Threat.
Sure.
That one.
So we talking new generation.
Yeah.
That's when it was important to us.
So if they get those new ones that came out, I didn't like them at first, but I saw a video.
They growing on you.
They growing on me. I'm not as much against dual plated, but in this case, they might make the collection. So those, what else? The new Intercontinental title, one of the NXT title, and I might grab one of the women's titles. I wish I could have got the Evolution title. Shout out to Corey. I saw that. I was like, man, it's so rare because you can get that and then get all the ladies to sign it as opposed to But fun story. The Winged Eagle is signed by Bret the Hitman Hart. There's actually an Instagram channel called Belt Hitman Hart.
Wow.
But what's on your wish list before we get out of here?
Oh man, what's not on my wish list? First of all, everything you just pretty much. Of course, Winged Eagle, Big Eagle, current WWE Championship.
That's another one. That's probably at the close to the top of the list.
In NWA, Dome Globe World Championship.
That's the Dr. D belt.
Yeah, that's remember that was one of the first belts that we saw him always. If you didn't see Dr. D without that title for a long time.
Yeah.
Of course, the spinner belt. I mean, there's the undisputed championship. There's a ton. Of course, World Tag Team titles. The ones that you mentioned. From that '90s era. There's a ton. I mean, I haven't really jumped into it and got started yet. But trust me,
it's coming. It's coming.
When it's my time, trust me, it's I can't wait to get into it. It's such a fun thing to do. It's such a meaningful part of our childhood and as wrestling fans, which is why we decided to do the show and share it with you all. We know it's a lot of belt fans out there and a lot of guys that collect belts. The community is huge.
Yeah.
And it's fun to be a part of it.
It is, and you can learn so much from different people about things to look for.
Yeah. And specifics, manufacturing,
exactly.
style
and
of
you got
belts.
questions. I would just say like, I think the belt community is better than the wrestling community in some cases.
Sure.
Because usually they just beefing with the makers.
Right.
You don't really see that beef of, oh, my belt, I get more belts than you. I don't think you can't measure a wrestling fan by what wrestling fans have. That's just stupid. So it ain't like these things are $10.
Sure. So, one last thing before we get out of here. Are you a belt snob? Do you have specifics when it comes to replica titles right now that you collect? Like, I know in some situations, some of the classic replica titles like the Winged Eagle and the Big Eagle have the original WWF insignia on it. But then you have a lot of those same replicas nowadays that have the WWE symbol.
I know what you're saying. Yep.
So what are you specific, or maybe some of the manufactured WWE Championship replicas come with a strap that's kind of tighter, that's really meant to last long, but then...
So I caught the IC title and WWF title, and I mean both the Winged Eagle and the Big Eagle at the right time, where it was WWF. I don't think I would want the E, but then like I said, the tag titles I might have to settle, because I was also looking at FanDuel's tag titles, but I might settle because they do look gorgeous. Unless I can find a good belt maker that I can trust, which I, pick up the phone, call my friends, hey, is this person good? Cool. So.
Right. All right. Well, like I said, that was one of the questions I had, man. Like I said, I enjoyed this part. I had a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me do this.
Jumping into Brian H's top 5 world championships of all time, his absolute favorites. I had a blast. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah. So make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast, to the show, to the Realm, to Twitch, everywhere, you know it. Wrestling Realm at Brian H. Waters, everywhere at TRDA Brand on Instagram, at Dwayne Allen 24. Make sure you share this with your friends and family, and also make sure you let us know what's your top 5
Please
belts.
do. Absolutely.
What's your favorite belts? What's on your wish list? Who knows? Maybe we can help you find it. Till the next time, folks. Too sweet.